Into an Orphan First Kill. Orphan First Kill did a simultaneous release in movie theaters and on streaming services. Right now, you can watch it on Paramount Plus, which is on right now, or you can head to the theater to go see it. And as I mentioned before, Orphan First Kills is the prequel to the very first Orphan movie, which came out back in 2009, which I hadn't seen that movie in a long time. Watching this movie, Orphan First Kill, actually made me want to go back and watch the first movie again because I haven't seen it in such a long time. Have you seen the first Orphan movie in 2009?
I have not, but I feel like I've heard enough about it and the twist, so I'm pretty much caught up on it.
Yeah. And if you know the twist of that movie, that plays a big part in this movie as well, in Orphan First Kill. So in this movie, you have it where the main character here, Esther, who's played by Elizabeth Fernan, who right now, all the way back in I think 2009, she was 12, I believe, when the first one came out. Now she's 25 years old. She's 25 right now. So here she is again, back again as the title character of Esther. And she broke out of a mental facility to then eventually started impersonating a daughter of a wealthy family, looking through all these different missing girls and goes like, oh, I look close enough to this little girl. I think I'll, kind of sneak in with this family, make myself a part of them. And the family she kind of becomes a part of is headed up by Julia Stiles, it's good to see Julia Stiles. Usually I kind of see her every now and then pop up with some different stuff. I think, what was the last thing I think I saw Julia Stiles in? Maybe the Jason Bourne movie? Maybe.
Yeah, that's also the last movie I saw her.
Yeah, but it's always good to see her. Always good to see her and stuff. So you have her here, and I think she does a very good job in the movie, being part of this, being the mother here, the matriarch of this family. The Albright family is what she is. She plays Trisha. You also have Rosie Sutherland, who's the father. You also have the son, who's Matthew Finlan, Gunner, who plays Gunner in the movie. And when at the start of this movie, I think the first maybe 20, 30 minutes, it was kind of just, okay, it's kind of moving along, kind of dull, kind of for me. But then it's that midway point that really things, I think, start to turn around for me and becomes really exciting and pretty entertaining for me with a lot of stuff that they do. How were you feeling about the movie?
Well, considering I haven't watched the first movie, the whole impersonating and trying to sneak into this family, I was kind of entertained watching that. And yeah, the halfway point, things start to change, and I was like, oh my god, okay, now so much fun watching this. So to me, it was a blast from beginning to end, and wow.
Yeah, I was kind of worried in the first half of it simply because I was just like, oh well, it seems like it's kind of going to be the same movie over again, where this family kind of learns about what's wrong with Esther. But like I said, that midway point really changes things and changes the whole dynamic and makes you really kind of root for Esther. Esther, who is this crazy, psychotic murderer. It kind of makes you really kind of root for her in a way, her dealing with this kind of family. And I thought that was kind of a nice change of pace. And seeing the dynamic between everybody was really fun as well. And you also kind of have to get past a little bit of obviously Elizabeth Fernan she's older now, she's 25, and they put her face on a young girl's body. And they also, the cast and crew, you'll see photos, they wore these huge platform boots to make themselves look bigger, to make her look smaller. So it's kind of, to make it more convincing that she's, more looks like a little girl. But when you look at her face, clearly it's the face of an older woman. You know what I mean?
It's the jaw.
It's the jaw, you
It's
think?
the yeah. I, the jaw is clearly like the jawline of a grown woman. So that's kind of.
Yeah.
I, I think that's the thing that really kind of kept distracting me for the first part, but really as the story goes along, I was like, okay, well, I'm going along with it.
Yeah. I think, you just kind of, if you can get past that hurdle and just kind of accept it and kind of go with it and kind
Mm-hmm.
of have fun with it a little bit, I think you won't even pay attention to it that much. Um,
Right.
and the way that kind of Esther deals with a lot of people in this movie, it's almost like Chucky kind of feel like, you know what I mean? Like this little kind of thing can just take on people in a way.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of fun. What did you think about most of the cast and the kills in this movie, by the way?
I thought everybody did a really good job. I mean, like the first movie, this whole movie kind of hinders on the performance of Herman. And I thought she really carried the movie. I mean, her performance, like the first movie, she's like really sweet and innocent, and then can just flip on a dime and turn into just creepy and just psycho killer. And I thought that was probably the best part about this movie. And surprisingly enough, Esther, she's not too smart. Like in the first half, like she has this accent, and the girl she's supposed to be impersonating doesn't have an accent. Like I'm like, wow, you didn't really do your research before you took on this role. So there were parts where I was like, you're kind of slipping just a little bit.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, because she kind of like they really make fun of her throughout the movie for her kind of thick. She has like this
Yeah.
European accent, Eastern kind of European accent
Mm-hmm.
almost, and she kind of what I mean. What you mean kind of rooting for her is like they kind of treat her like shit in the movie, like calling her like a mutant.
And
They call her a freak and a mutant and
yeah.
like some I think like they call her like a deformed dwarf or something like that. It's like
Yeah, yeah, that brother and his group of friends, man, they were like so mean to her. I'm like, come on down. She's a little kid. Some slack.
yeah. So I mean that was I thought that was kind of funny a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hmm.
That kind of just made me kind of sometimes really kind of made me want to root for her to kill the people a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to say she was completely in the right, but I understand to a degree, a little bit. You know, what were kind of some of your big highlights with this movie, and some of kind of your big disappointments if you had any?
Uh, but without spoiling, the highlights of the movie were definitely the performances. I mean, a lot of the dread and the terror really came from the performances of both Isabel Furman and Julia Stiles. I mean, their back and forth, I thought, it really kind of sold the movie and just elevated the movie that could have just been like a generic like slasher type thriller. I thought their performance was really awesome. Also, like the cinematography and the camera movements, especially during the first insane asylum scenes, I thought it really added to the dread. Um, some of my complaints with the movie, first of all, like the first insane asylum scene where she escapes and the dude that she has to come across, I'm like, come on, you know better than to do that. Like characters do make some stupid decisions from time to time. Yeah. So I would say that's kind of like, for plot convenience sakes, things like that do happen, but for the most part, the positives for me outweigh the negatives.
Mm, yeah, and it's tough because coming to this movie, I kind of had some low expectations. It being a movie that obviously is a sequel to a movie that came out a while ago, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
That's always kind of not a good sign sometimes. Taking so long for this. And already a movie, it's like, what can you do to really expand upon the concept that you did in the first one? Kind of a niche kind of thing. What can you really do? And I think they did a good job in the sequel, making it kind of entertaining and kind of what they did here with the family and the dynamic between the two. Like you mentioned, Julia Stiles and Elizabeth Ferner, who I think have a great back and forth here. I think the big thing, common thing you'll see if you watch the first one and watch this one, dumb dads. both the dads just were so fucking clueless. In both movies, if I remember correctly, like the dad in
Dad is so oblivious.
yeah, that's a thing that kind of carries over here. But yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I think the turn that happens in, like we talked about in the midway through, I think people, I think that's what really kind of makes this movie fun and really makes it kind of more entertaining in some ways. Maybe I even like it kind of better than the first one. I have to go back and watch the first one again myself. But yeah, I mean, there's, I think, quite a bit to like it, and it being on Paramount Plus, you know what I mean? Maybe it gives you a reason to check out Paramount Plus, put it on. I think it's a fun late night movie that you can watch, cuddled up, you know what I mean? Something that you can kind of enjoy there. And, watching the kind of performance of like Julia Stiles and Matthew Finlan, who are just, so kind of, asshole-ish in a way, I think really kind of makes it as well. And really they do a really good job at that. Oh, you gonna say something?
I agree. Matthew Fillion, was that the kid that played Gunner?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like this performance. Like, personally, like, of all of them, like, he was just an asshole. He was just an asshole, and he was just like, you can't wait for her to kill him because he's just picking on him the whole time. So I thought that was like a little comedic element, or unintentionally funny comedic element that I found to be.
Yeah. So for me, I would give this a tune in. A very, very good one. Tune in.
Okay.
What about you?
How's your rating system go?
So we do This Is Cinema. That's the highest rating we can go. Then we do a tune in, tune out, skip it, burn it, waste a fucking film, and stream it.
Damn. Okay. I would say then about tune it would be my rating also. It's actually very fun, considering this took 13 years to get a prequel. It doesn't make sense that it's a prequel, but as the story goes along, you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty clever. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth the check out.
Yeah. I think she slips back into the role nicely. Yeah, Elizabeth Fernan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being 12 when she first did the first one, and then now being 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen her really do much else, all that much since kind of Orphan. I think Orphan is kind of like her big kind of claim to fame was Orphan. Yeah.
Yeah. She was in that, and I saw her in the first Hunger Games, but other than that, I don't think I've seen her that much.
Yeah, give us some more work. I think she's good. Give us some more work.
Yeah, she is a very good actress.
Yeah, yeah, and very attractive too. Very pretty woman too. Very pretty.
Yeah.
It's funny when I was talking about it with Hunter. He was mentioning how people have asked her to dress up as the little girl from Orphan. Somebody's probably asked her to do that before, and and I was like, I don't even want to think about that honestly, but yeah, so yeah, tune ins all around for Orphan First Kill. Awesome stuff.